Nico Williams, defensive back.
This is RJ Moreno, running back.
This is Noah Drum, wide receiver.
This is Mason Meyer, defensive end.
This is Johnny Knight, defensive back.
This is Dylan Cahill, slot receiver.
This is Gage Leggett, defensive back, and you're listening to Georgetown Eagle Football on SHN Sports.
Hey, well, good evening, Burger University. I know a lot of folks in here tonight, not part of the football program, but can we welcome everybody here at Burger University tonight? Good to see you guys. I'm Rob Pipp, the studio host here for Georgetown Eagle Football, and this is our weekly coaches show that we have every Wednesday night here at Burger University supporting the Georgetown Eagles. We normally have a pretty packed house with a lot of Eagle fans, so there's a lot of guests here, so if you guys are wondering what's going on, that's what it is. Tonight, though, there's a special event taking place at Georgetown High School, so that's why our normal turnout is a little bit low, but we still packed the house with a lot of other folks, so we appreciate you being here tonight. Our Georgetown head football coach, Jason Dean. Come on up, Coach. Let's give it up for Georgetown's head football coach, Jason Dean. Well, Coach, as always, we appreciate you. Thanks for being here tonight. I know a big event going on with the FCA. Before we get into last week and talk about the Hutto game, let's talk a little bit about that event going on tonight. Pretty exciting event here at Georgetown at the GISD Athletic Complex tonight.
Sure it is. You know, FCA stands for Fellowship of Christian Athletes. They have a big presence here in our town and local schools all across the nation. You know, this is not just a local event. This is something that's happening at different stadiums and high schools, you know, all across the nation. So our local FCA group puts together this night, and our school district graciously allows those guys to use our stadium, and they have a worship band that comes out and have a speaker that comes out, and not just Georgetown High School, but youth from all across Georgetown, the Georgetown area, but also Liberty Hill, Round Rock, Florence, Gerald, maybe Taylor, you know, lots of different smaller schools around that bring their youth group to come and be a part of that. I would not be surprised, you know, that event doesn't kick off for another hour or so, but I would not be surprised if there are not, you know, 1,500 students in the stands, you know, tonight for that. So it's a really good deal. Awesome.
Well, Coach, we go back and we look at last week, lost a tough game to Hutto to open up district play 38-14. Of course, here in Georgetown this past Friday, Georgetown 3-2 overall, 0-1 in district play. Hutto, of course, a top 10 opponent in many rankings to open the 11-5A D1 play. Hutto led 7-0 after one, 28-7 after the second quarter. Georgetown, though, found a little bit of rhythm in life in the third quarter, brought the game to within 2 touchdowns, 28-14 on that 44-yard pass from Jackson Siosin to Noah Drum. Georgetown finishing with 65 total plays, 319 yards of offense. Hutto 54 plays, 370 yards of offense. We talk about an Eagle team that passed for 173 yards, rushed for 146. They allowed 182 passing yards, 188 rushing yards for Hutto. One turnover by Georgetown, which is interception. Hutto did not turn the ball over in that game. Coach, a tough contest to open district play. This is a stacked Hutto team. We talked about it in the coaches show before. Georgetown has a lot of talent, but so does Hutto, a very stacked team. Can you talk about the game, during the game, kind of the mindset, and then afterwards as well, Coach?
Sure. You know, a couple of different things, you know, that goes on during last week's game. The first one is, you know, they go down to score their opening series, and we didn't give up an explosive play, you know, to allow that to happen. Made them drive the field. To be able to go score, you know, that was a positive. Obviously, keeping out of the end zone is even better. But you know, not allowing something explosive, making those guys drive the field, which we were able to do. Our next offensive series, we go down, drive the field, get to about the 35 or so, and you know, choose to punt there after they hold. Not a bad series for us because we make several first downs, you know, during that deal. Our game plan going into the game was limit how much time Hutto has the ball. And anybody that's watched us for any length of time knows that we're an up-tempo, try to hurry up type offense, and we did something completely different, you know, against Hutto, completely reversed. You know, went to the huddle, slowed things down, make sure that we're snapping the football with less than 10 seconds on the play clock, just to try to keep their explosive offense, you know, off the field. You know, they went down and scored again to make it 14-0. We go down the field. We hold on defense, go down the field and miss a very makeable field goal that's going to make the score 7-3. You know, they go down to score again, make it 14-0, end up scoring again to make it 21. We score to make it 7. I really felt like going into halftime, it should have been 21-7. I'm sorry, 21-10. You know, and then it's a different ball game when you come out the second half because we get the ball first, as you mentioned. We go down the field and score our opening series. Now it's a 21-17 game instead of a 28-14 game, and it's a different feel, you know, during the ball game.
Coach, I wanted to mention Jackson Siosin, a lot more mobile in this game that we've seen, or at least I've seen in broadcasting the past few contests so far this year. He rushed 16 times, 68 yards on those keepers. Can you talk a little bit about that and really his mobility, and can we expect to see more of that this season?
You know, we had some design plays where Jackson was going to run the football last week and did a great job of that. The thing that Jackson did a good job of that I'm not happy with, Jackson did a great job of getting us out of trouble with his feet, scrambling. You know, as a coach, I don't want him to have to scramble. That's the deal. You know, it means we're not protecting him good enough. We've got to get the ball out of his hand quicker. So, you know, Jackson did a great job with his feet, keeping it alive several times last week.
Coach, penalties a little bit of a problem again for Georgetown in this game, 7 of them for 55 yards. What's the continued discussion regarding penalties so far this season? Well,
there were 2 of those that I weren't happy with, and they were procedure penalties. You know, that's 10 yards of that 55. The other penalties were effort penalties. And I've said, you know, Rob, as long as you and I have been talking, I don't get as upset with effort penalties. You know, if we're hustling and we're doing the things that we need to do to try to make football plays, effort penalties are going to happen. And we cleaned up some of our legal procedure penalties. Like I said, we still had 2 of those. That's too many because those are freebies. But the effort penalties, you know, I can live with, and I think any coach can live with if you're giving good effort.
Can you talk about some of the positives in this game, Coach? As always, there's some things to take away. A few high points of this game last week. Sure.
There's a couple. The first one is we played really good defense, you know, and it doesn't sound like when you give up 38 points that you played good defense, but against Hutto, that's averaging 54 points a game, over 500 yards, you know, per game. We held them, I think, a little under 370. You know, we just gave up 38 points. So, you know, that's a positive because we played good defense, you know, against that high octane, you know, offense that they have. You know, I felt pretty good about that. And you won't find a single defensive coach on our staff that would agree with that. You know, defensive coaches, you know, giving up 38 points, they're not happy at all about it.
It's a Hutto team that I think's, you know, averaged 34 they're averaging 34 in the first half. So that is a good positive takeaway.
So, you know, we continue to play good defense. That I think is good. The second thing is, although it didn't show up on the scoreboard, we were efficient offensively. I think we ended up rushing the ball for a little over 5 yards per carry, which is good. Our turnovers were good. We ended up throwing an interception, but that was a deflected pass. You know, those things happen when you throw the football around as much as we do. So we didn't put the ball on the ground fumbling it, and we didn't just blatantly throw it, you know, to the other team. So if we can continue to keep our turnovers you know, we get that down to 0 and play good defense, you know, we got a shot. The thing that we've got to do a better job of is we've got to create more turnovers defensively. And that's the first thing our defensive staff and our defensive kids would say to you is that if we're not getting turnovers defensively, we're not putting our offense in a short field position to be able to go score, you know, quick, easy points.
Talking to more, just a few last questions here before we move on, Coach, here in our first segment of Going Back here on the Eagle Nation Coaches Show. On defense for Hutto, Landry Watson, the defensive end for Hutto, dominating. Can you talk about the defense of Hutto and their toughness? This was a team that came out really tough and played a very solid game.
They did. You know, they're very talented. You know, I think they're the defensive end that you mentioned is just a sophomore. You know, he's a young kid. But I think he's already been offered by Oklahoma and Texas and TCU. I mean, he's a very talented player. Got a high motor, you know, but he's also got another junior at the nose guard and another sophomore at the other defensive line position that are very talented as well. You know, good football players. And then in the secondary, they're just so athletic. You know, able to get up and press and cover our receivers, making us put the ball in very tight windows. You know, they're a quality team, no doubt.
Coach, the Eagles 5 of 12 on third down. Can you talk a little bit about that third down efficiency and how important that is for Georgetown this season?
Sure. You know, a couple things. The first one is we were 100% on third and short, which is good. We were 100% on fourth down, which is good. You don't want to have to get to fourth down, to be able to do that. But when you do have to do it, you want to be efficient, and we were. The thing that we've got to improve on is 3rd and 7+, both on offense and defense. The other night, we would have played even better defense than what I thought we played pretty good had we got off the field on 3rd and 8. There were many times where we got them in 3rd and 8. So we're playing good on first down, playing good on second down, and then we give up an explosive play. I say an explosive play, just enough for a first down, defensively. So both of those, both offense and defense, we've got to improve on 3rd and long situations.
Coach, a personal question in college football: are you a Longhorn fan? Were you happy with the UT score?
I'm not a Longhorn fan, no.
But
I'm not an Oklahoma fan either, so it's all right.
Is there any Longhorn fans in the house here? Anybody? Nobody. Well, we got one back there. Any Oklahoma fans here at Burger U tonight? Oh, there's a little 1-and-1 action going on. Well, Coach,
I'll tell you something that was exciting for me. Because we work on Saturdays, until mid-afternoon or so. Our coaching staff does, but because Texas, and I'm not an Aggie fan either. It was just they had a night game, and it was close enough to go to. Nice. So I was able to take my 11-year-old son to his first college football game on Saturday night. On Saturday night, we were able to go see the Aggies play, and they had a great game. Winning in overtime. So that was really neat for me as a dad to get to take my young son to his first college football game, and I'm not sure there's a better place to do it than Kyle Field. That was pretty exciting.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, as we look ahead, Georgetown, of course, travels to Gupton Stadium this Friday to play Cedar Park for the second game here in district play. The Timberwolves 4-2 overall, 2-0 in District 11 5A D1 play after defeating Rouse at home 31-7 earlier this year in Pflugerville-Connolly 48-12 last week on the road. Last year, that game very close for Georgetown, a close contest, 28-27. The final score there is Cedar Park defeated Georgetown at Gupton. Cedar Park, of course, last year goes 8-0, undefeated in district. Coach, historically Cedar Park, a top team here in this district. Georgetown will enter this game on a 2-game skid after playing, honestly, 2 very, very competitive teams, probably 2 of the best teams that we're going to see all season. Can you talk about the mindset, though, heading to Gupton this Friday and the urgency of a win?
Sure. The reason it's urgent, Rob, as you well know, is district, and we're already behind the 8 ball a little bit by dropping our first game. But this is something I've stressed to our kids this week. This is not a do or die, time for us. That point will come, at some point throughout the year. But we're not there yet. The reason Cedar Park's important because it's the next district ball game, and Georgetown and Cedar Park I think have a long history. We've played each other for a long, long time, and our guys are really looking forward to getting to go over and play those guys again.
Some of the players, Coach, that we should be keeping an eye out for on that Cedar Park team this Friday.
Sure, their defensive line unit. Cedar Park has always boasted a really, really good defense, one of the top defenses in the district. They reload every year in the defensive line and linebacker. We're going to see a quality, athletic defensive line. It's the strong suit of their defense this year. So we've got to be prepared. We've worked hard this week in the offensive line and a running back spot about being able to protect our quarterback. And we think we've got some things where we're going to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands even quicker. So, but we got to be able to establish a running game, and we can't get our quarterback, sacked and end up in second long, third and long situations.
Coach, definitely not downplaying this year's Cedar Park team, but some folks are saying this team may not be as tough as the one that we have seen in the years past. Your thoughts on that, Coach?
I think they're not playing them. We are. So Cedar Park's good. They always have been. They're tradition-rich program. I hope they say the same thing about us. That when they line up to play us, we give them one of their toughest games. Throughout district play. So it'll be a dogfight. It always is. And like we've talked about before, we got to go to their place, which even makes it more challenging. So it'll be one of those Friday nights that we got to be ready to go. What
are some of the things that you discussed this week to the kids about this matchup?
To make it about us, don't make it about Cedar Park.
Mm-hmm.
I think anytime you're going to play a rivalry type game, that's the tendency is you want to focus too much on the other team instead of focusing on yourselves. But we got to worry about the Georgetown Eagles. We're not hitting on all cylinders like we need to be at this point. And we've got plenty of stuff that we can work on within our own organization without starting to worry about somebody else's. So the opponents are going to change every single week, but the focus needs to stay on us.
Coach, right now, the overall health and how our practices this week is the last question here.
Well, the good thing for us, this has probably been our craziest week of practice as far as our schedule goes, but the good news is we haven't missed a practice. The rain on Monday and Tuesday, we had to do things differently there. Our kids responded to that, did a great job of showing up on time and doing a good job of that. And then we had PSAT testing today, which kind of messes up your entire schedule because you don't have an athletic period, so we had to do something different there. Again, our kids did well there. And then tomorrow, we're going to have a half day. We're out of school at 12:45 tomorrow, so that's a different day. So lots and lots of different stuff this week that had a chance to really take away our focus and for our practice schedule not to be as good. But our kids did a good job of responding to that and doing a good job anyway.
Awesome. Well, Coach, we're excited. Can't wait to head to Cedar Park to Gupton on Friday, 7 p.m. kickoff. I believe the rest of all the games now 7 p.m.
Correct.
Here in district play. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's give it up for your Georgetown Eagle head football coach, Jason Dean. We always appreciate the accessibility of Coach Dean. As we step aside for just a second, and we will bring up Mr. Dylan Cahill, the Georgetown senior wide receiver. Let's give it up for Dylan, everybody. Dylan, I brought you a little walk-up music there, man.
Yeah, I like it.
So, well, Dylan, this week we have two offensive players that we wanted to mention this week, and it's our showcase not to always just mention players of the game, but to mention as many of you guys as possible because of the work and the ethic that you put into this game. Dylan, a senior this year. I've known the Cahill family for quite some time now because, of course, your brother Dakota Cahill, who played here at Georgetown a couple of years ago. So far in the season, 4 for 19, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns receiving. Dylan, before we get started, just a little bit to get to know you. How long have you been here in Georgetown?
Whole life. I was born in Austin, moved here about a month after. So.
Entire life. How old are you, Dylan?
17.
17 years, man. We have been blessed with the presence of Dylan Cahill here in Georgetown, Texas. Well, as I mentioned a while ago, of course, your brother played here as well as he was a running back here at Georgetown. Can you talk a little bit about the influence of Dakota?
Definitely a sibling rivalry going on there. There always has been. Makes it kind of hard to not give it your all in practice just because, like, freshman year, he's always the guy looking after me, making sure I'm getting my work in. But, just that competition constantly since a really young age, I feel like it's really changed.
And do you talk a lot of football with him, now that he's out of the house and in college? Do you and him talk football still or not so much?
Yeah, actually, after the Stephenville game, I went up to Lubbock to take a college visit. And we stayed up all night watching the film. He was telling me the movements on the defense, how Hutto's going to do this and that. And, yeah, he's always super into football and willing to help out.
So it is a pretty big influence then, man.
Yes, sir.
Well, we won't talk – I don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about this because we're looking ahead to next week. But, of course, a tough loss to Hutto last week. I know that you weren't out there on the field as you're kind of nursing some injuries here and there. But
yes,
can you talk about really from what you saw? Of course, I know that you weren't out there, but just what you saw from that Hutto team and really where you guys may need a little bit of work coming into Cedar Park this week.
Well, Hutto's super athletic. They got a lot of guys that'll go and ball out. But, I think it comes down to, as an offense, staying consistent throughout the whole drive. It's something we really need to work on, and I think we've gotten fixed this week in practice, doing a lot of tempo stuff. But, finishing drives, definitely a big theme for us going into this week.
What was the attitude that you could see kind of overall from your team, last week after that loss and now getting ready for Cedar Park this week?
After 2 losses, you got to bounce back if you want to have a successful season. But not only that, it's also Cedar Park, and everybody knows Cedar Park's a good team every year, and we're going to have to play well, if we want to go out and get a dub.
Well, as we look ahead to Cedar Park, where are some areas that you really feel like your team needs to succeed on, of course, to win the game, but we're talking about some areas where you feel like Georgetown needs to improve on versus this very tough Cedar Park team coming up?
Well, as an offense, got to protect Seosin, make sure he's got time to get the ball out to us. Receivers running good routes and moving the ball when we can. But I think it's nothing out of our reach. It's nothing we haven't prepared for this week. It's nothing that's going to really beat us down the line because I think we can fix it all.
How would you rate practices this week?
very high intensity. Everybody's ready. Everybody knows, the storm that's coming. Cedar Park, just a really tough rivalry for the past couple of years. I just really haven't liked them since about 7th grade. So, it's really exciting getting to play against those guys.
Where do you feel on a personal level maybe that you can improve and overall as a team?
Personally, I just want to make sure that, all our receivers, if they never have any questions about anything, that they look to me and, I can let them know what to do, how to improve this and that. But, I feel like our team this year really bought into the whole the team phrase. And I think really personally, I'm just trying to get wins for the team. So that's my goal.
Awesome, man. Well, a few last questions here as we continue to talk to Dylan Cahill here on Georgetown offense, wide receiver, senior. Who have been some of your influences, role models growing up that have helped you to get where you're at today, young man?
Dakota. Last year I had guys like Caden and Crombie, good role models, always putting in work, always giving it up their all in practice. Probably goes like that. Probably influenced me the most.
Awesome, man. Future plans after high school, have you been thinking about that? It's coming up quick, man.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm going to graduate this December and either going to go to Texas State or Texas Tech, but I'm kind of leaning towards Texas Tech right now.
Awesome. Well, you play a little lacrosse too, right?
Not this year.
Not this
I have
year.
the past 3.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Is Zane Haas making his way in? He's always rocking and rolling in here. Well, as the camera's right there on you, Dylan, who would you like to give a shout-out to, a little final shout-out tonight before we let you go, young man?
Shout out Noah Drum, Jackson Siosen, the whole O-line, the running backs, Taco, Gage, Petter, and the whole defense.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's give it up for this young man, outstanding, the senior wide receiver, number 20, Dylan Cahill. Thank you, Dylan. Well, a special treat tonight as we've got 2 times the offense. Please join me in welcoming now the offensive player, senior guard number 58, Kevin Espinosa. Come on up, Kevin. Let's give him a loud Georgetown welcome as Kev comes up here, man. Kevin, good to see you, young man. It's the first time we've had you on the show, Kevin. I appreciate you coming here tonight and excited about the season that you guys are having so far, Kevin. And do you have a nickname for – I forgot to ask Dylan. Does Dylan have a nickname?
I'm not sure.
He just went like this, so that means don't say what it is. It must be an underground nickname. What about you, Kevin? Any nicknames, man?
Not that I know of. Yeah.
See, with this show, sometimes you may end up having one by the end of the show, Kevin. So, well, you're a senior this season playing on the offensive line, of course, as a guard. Kevin, how long have you been here in Georgetown, young man?
I lived here my whole life. We grew up in Jarrell and then moved over here to Georgetown before I even started school, so I've been here.
Awesome, man. Okay. Another Georgetown guy here, been here 17 years old? 17 years, another one that we've been with here in Georgetown. We appreciate you, Kevin. Well, we don't want to spend a lot of time on this like we talked about earlier with Dylan, but as we kind of look back last week versus Hutto, can you talk about their defense and the toughness that those guys had up front?
We knew they were going to be tough up front. If we got them moving on the defensive line, we'd get the run game going. And we just had to be real aggressive with our hands. That's how it's always been. And with Hutto, it was a bigger thing, being real aggressive, getting in their face, because we knew they'd be hard to move. And if we got that going, everything would start going a little more smooth.
On the snap of each ball, you playing up there on that line, can you kind of talk about what's going through your mind at the beginning of every snap? It may change, but what do you think comes through your mind first on a lot of those snaps?
I just think about dominating up front and hopefully pancaking them if I can.
Nice, man. Yeah. Well, what are you looking forward to most? A big matchup coming up here versus Cedar Park. What are you looking forward to most about that game, Kevin?
I just really want to beat Cedar Park, and I know we all do, and it'd be really big if we did.
How many guys in here, how many players in here would like a big victory versus Cedar Park? Any players here? There we go. Well, can you talk about your teammates on the offensive line? You guys, you don't frequently show up on a stat sheet because you do so many things that don't show up on a stat sheet, but that are honestly some of the most important parts of the game. So can you talk a little bit about on that offensive line and what it's like to protect your quarterback and create holes for your running backs? Talk a little bit about that and the rest of your offensive line.
Yes, sir. We're all pretty close to each other, so we all play for each other, and we just all want to keep Jackson safe the whole game and make sure no injuries at the end of the day, and creating the holes for our running back. And we just like to bring up the younger guys that are playing with us this year. Our left tackle, Connor Heffernan, playing with him, helping him out on double teams, everything just real big for us up front.
Well, Kevin, as a senior on the team, is there other, some of your underclassmen that look up to you? How do you feel like your role is really a veteran on the team as a senior?
I hope they look up to me. Yeah, I'm one of the leaders on the offensive line, so they know if they need help with anything, they can come to me, and I'm willing to help them with anything they need, any step, any plays that they need, anything.
Awesome, man. Well, practices this week, can you kind of talk about those? We heard from Dylan saying they were pretty intense. Kind of your words on practices this week.
It was something different this week. We felt more pumped up, more ready, and we've been here watching all the film on Cedar Park, and I think we know about everything they can bring, and we're ready for them.
Can you talk about some things maybe from you on that offensive line, some things areas that you think maybe you can improve on and some other areas that your team can improve on up front?
For me, just being more physical and as a unit, just all playing more together, more compact, and not letting any space in between us, and really just dominating up front.
As we continue to talk to Kevin Espinoza here, the senior guard for Georgetown High School on the offense, can you talk a little bit about some of your role models and influences who've made an impact on you growing up?
For me, my dad, he's always been hardworking and giving me the best for everything, and I really appreciate all that. And then getting into high school, Coach Bond, he really helped out a lot. Because I thought I was going to be a defensive player, wanting to play defensive tackle. But then he moved me onto the O-line, and from there, he just got me rolling, and I really appreciate everything he does.
Awesome. So kind of helped you find where you fit, and it's worked out really well for you so far over these years, man. So, well, can you talk about, as a senior, what's your senior year been like? What's been some of the best memories you've had so far as a senior?
For me, it's the brotherhood, playing with Zane and Theo and just all the guys on the offensive line and everyone in the back, like Dylan, Jackson. They're just all great guys, and I love being around all of them.
Awesome, man. Well, future plans. You're a senior, just like we told Dylan. It's cherish these last moments in high school. It's going to come quick, but talk about future plans after you get out.
For me, I'm just ready to graduate and go off to college. I'm still not sure if I'm going to continue to play in football in college. If not, I'm probably going to go to Tech. And
Dylan's influencing you back there. Well, awesome, man. Well, the camera, of course, right there on you. We're on a live stream right now. Once you came up here, we got about 1.2 million people on that live stream, Kevin. So who do you want to send a shout-out to, say hello to tonight?
Shout-out Zane Haas. Shout-out to everyone here. Shout-out to Missy Olsen. And shout-out to all of Eagle Nation, everyone that comes out to support us in our games.
Awesome. Well, we've always got you guys back. We're always here for you. So let's give it up. And go ahead and stay here because we got to – Coach, do we got time to do the trivia challenges? We do have a lot. So we're going to do the trivia challenge, so stay here. But let's give it up real quick for Kevin Espinoza, everybody. Well, as we move on here, and I got to put up my block here because it's the most critical time of our coaches show as we move in to our fourth segment here. We have one more segment after this to where we talk to the Booster Club, but our fourth segment, it's the offense versus defense. Do you know about this, Kevin?
I know about it, but I just don't watch too much about football, so I'm not.
Do you know about the Eagle Nation Coaches Show Trivia Challenge, though? All right, this is huge, man. Because this is what it's all about right here when we do these. The defense won last year. Last week, they came back alive. They're now leading 7-6. I'm going to ask you guys 5 multiple-choice questions. Let's bring up all the players right now. Set with offense here, defense on this side. And those, you guys are kind of have to you may not have room over here tonight. Y'all may have to make room.
Yeah, it's just
Taco, is there anybody else on defense tonight?
my boy Bronson.
Yeah, we got to have support for Taco because the first week, man, he was all alone. So may have to kind of wiggle around. And Taco bringing the hot sauce as he always does up here to Burger U tonight.
Taco the hot sauce, man.
Well, real quick, Taco, go ahead and for everyone here in the house tonight, say your name and then the young man behind you. Then we'll let the offense go over their names as well.
Taco Williams. Bryce Bronson.
Kevin Espinoza.
Zane Haas.
Dylan Cahill.
Jackson Seos. Alex Steele.
RJ Marino.
All right, RJ Moreno. Hey, I saw Mr. Moreno in the house. Let's give a round of applause for Mr. Moreno back there. RJ, good to see you, my man. And good to see you. If you come every week, we're going to call out a different person. So we called out Miss Seosin last week. She was here. She's back again. And Chuck and Kay, we appreciate you and all the fine folks that are here supporting these kiddos every week. We're going to start a little Texas trivia. Taco, do you have a real Texas accent, like a little Texas trivia?
I don't know. We don't have those up north.
Well, a little Texas trivia here today. We've got 5 questions. Again, the defense leading. There's 2 of them. You guys are overpowering, so you better put all your brain together, but these 2 gentlemen over here may have it. So we're going to start with the first question. The way the rules work, guys, you've got 10 to 15 seconds to answer these questions. It's a running total, and, of course, the winner will be determined at the last coach's show of the season and presented with an amazing, wonderful trophy, a very amazing, just a beautiful trophy that you don't want to miss out on, guys. First question here, part of the Texas trivia. Texas has a state flower song. A state flower song. Some of you guys may have sang this on the way to school today. 4 options here. The first one, what is this song called? What is the state flowers? I didn't even know about this. What is the state flower song called? The Bluebonnet song, the Texas Bluebonnets, Yellow Rose of Texas, or Big Blue and Bold? Again, Bluebonnet song, Texas Bluebonnets, the Yellow Rose of Texas, or Big Blue and Bold. Those colors kind of go with you guys too, you know. There's some colors in there. So we're going to give you 8 seconds. 8 seconds. First one again, the Bluebonnet song, Texas Bluebonnets, Yellow Rose of Texas, or Big Blue and Bold. We're going to give you 8 seconds starting now. All right. And we will send it over to the defense first.
All right, we're going to go with D.
With D, which one? The Big Blue and Bold?
Big Blue and Bold.
All right, offense.
The yellow one, I think it's C.
C, Yellow Rose of Texas. Well, both of you guys are wrong. It was the Bluebonnet song, guys. I thought you guys were going to get this one. So no score here on the first one. We're still at 7-6. Still 7-6 as we move on to the second of 5 questions. The state bird of, you got to get this one, guys. The state bird of, if you don't, I'm not gonna get mad. But the state bird of Texas. The state bird of Texas. Is it A, the woodpecker, B, the mockingbird, C, the Texas cardinal, or D, the kickapoo? The state bird of Texas. Woodpecker, mockingbird, the Texas cardinal, or the kickapoo? We will give you 8 seconds. And the offense is going to have to take this one first over here. All right, Zane Haas, he's a spokesman over here.
The Mockingbird.
Mockingbird, okay. Defense.
We're going to go with the Texas Cardinal.
The Texas Cardinal. Well, the question is, it is the Mockingbird.
I told you I would work if I confused them. Good choice.
The offense and defense now tied, 7 apiece. 2 questions down, 3 to go. The official hat of Texas. The official hat of Texas. 10-gallon hat. 10-gallon hat. Cowboy hat. Baseball hat or the Lone Star hat. The official hat of Texas. 10-gallon hat. Cowboy hat. Baseball hat or the Lone Star hat. You've got 8 seconds starting now.
All right, Bronson, I'm going with you on this because it's fun to do.
All right. We will send it over to the defense. Defense, you are currently tied with the offense 7-7. Taco, what do you got?
We're going to go with the cowboy hat.
Cowboy hat, offense. Offense.
We're going to need an answer.
Cowboy hat.
Cowboy hat, you're both right. Woo! 8-8. Tied up here. 3 down, 2 to go. How many of you know about the bolo tie? I have a bolo tie. Do you guys know what a bolo tie is? He knows. Bolo tie.
Yes, of course, bro.
So this is the next one here, guy. The bolo tie and the cowboy boot. How many guys? Anybody have cowboy boots on here tonight? Nobody. The bolo tie and the cowboy boot recognized as Texas symbols in what year? in what year? 1901, 1964, 1927, or 2007? The bolo, tie, and cowboy boot were recognized as Texas symbols in what year? 1901, 1964, 1927, or 2007? Anybody in the audience know that answer?
Tell me.
1901, 1964, 1927, or 2007? So if you think you might know, you got 5 seconds. Okay. Who answered last time?
We did.
Okay, so we'll go back to the offense. Offense, your guess.
1927.
1927. Defense.
1901.
Both wrong. It was 2007, if you can believe it or not.
Wait, dang, you didn't say that.
The tie remains. Very weird, but it was 2007 when it was officially recognized.
Wow.
I did too.
That was a curveball.
Curveball. Threw one at you. Finally, last but not least, this is the tiebreaker question tonight. The tiebreaker question tonight. How many of you guys fish, by the way? Zane Haas?
Oh.
Any fishers in the audience tonight? We got a few here in the house. Here is the official question. What is the official fish of Texas? The official fish of Texas. Is it A, the catfish? Someone said bluebonnet. Come on. Catfish, kingfish, Guadalupe bass, or the goldfish? Again, catfish, kingfish, Guadalupe bass, or a goldfish. You've got 8 seconds. One last time.
We got it.
Catfish, kingfish, Guadalupe bass, or goldfish?
It's a goldfish because they sell them all the steak there.
And we will go with the defense in 3, 2, 1.
I'm going to go with Guadalupe bass.
Guadalupe bass. Okay. And the offense.
Catfish.
Catfish. Hey, one of y'all got it right.
And it's the defense.
And it's the defense. So Guadalupe bass. 9-8 the score. The defense takes the lead.
On the side of Texas.
There you go. So let's give it up again to your Georgetown Eagle players. The defense now leading. Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all. Kevin, good to have you tonight. Dylan, good to have you guys tonight. Thank y'all for being here. As we move in and enter our last segment, one last round of applause, guys. Let's give it up for your Georgetown Eagles. These are outstanding young men here in the community that give back. They're active in the community with not only their school but other kids. Our last and final segment as we now bring up your Georgetown Eagle Booster President, Mr. Pete Thill. Let's give it up for the Eagle Boosters and Pete Thill. Thank you, Pete. As Pete makes his way up here tonight, as always, Pete, we appreciate you and thank you for being here. Going to be another fun game. This one on the road. We talk every week about tailgates and things like that. You've got a list. So, Pete, I'll let you take it over, man.
All right. Well, we appreciate everybody coming and supporting the team. We had some encouraging plays in the game last week. The week before was kind of rough. It was just encouraging to see Georgetown string some good playing together this week. I wanted to run through the schedule because it's an unusual schedule this week. Thursday, 12:40, school is over. JV Blue, so the players have to leave the school. They can't wait at school until game time for the JV players. JV Blue needs to be at school back at 4 o'clock to get ready for the game. JV Silver needs to be ready at 5. We will not have a team dinner for the players this week because we didn't think that we'd be able to get them back at school after varsity finishes with their practice around 2:30 or 3. On Friday, we're changing, because there's no school, we're changing the taco breakfast time to 9 o'clock. And then the boys will have walkthrough and film after that, so they'll be done about 10:30. Then they need to be back at school at 3 o'clock to begin ready for game prep. We'll be tailgating at Dos Salsas on 1431 at 5 o'clock, so 2 hours before the game. And then we'll be there at 7 o'clock for Beach Cedar Park.
Awesome. Well, more information, as always, events and everything listed on the website. Talk about that for the folks here tonight and also those on the stream there on the internet that may not know how to get in touch with you guys and opportunities to volunteer and things such as that.
Absolutely. We're always looking for help volunteering. The Booster Club parents supply tacos for all the boys on Friday morning. We call it Breakfast of Champions. Anyone who wants to go to the website georgetownfootball.com. On there's a link if you want to communicate with us. That will send an email to the Booster Club. We'll get it to the right people. Parents volunteer to bring 24 tacos a week. We try to get a number of families to do that, so there's enough for O-line guys, the big guys to get plenty of food on game day. Anybody else, any of the players get fed, managers, trainers. We can always use help with team dinners that we provide for the boys on Thursday evenings. If you're interested in volunteering and helping, email that address on georgetownfootball.com. We'll get you hooked up with whatever area you want to spend your time volunteering in. Always looking for help.
Awesome. Well, Pete, you do such an amazing job along with everyone with the Georgetown Eagle football boosters. Truly a blessing and a privilege to always be able to not only bring this show, but to be engaged in the community. So thank you for what you do. You can also find links to the games. Of course, we broadcast them live, audio only on Friday night. After midnight, we bring that video up. But for those of you out there, you can visit georgetownfootball.com. Also on YouTube, we strongly encourage you to join our YouTube channel at youtube.com/SHN Sports and the number 1. So that's youtube.com/SHN Sports 1. Subscribe to that channel. You'll get alerts on your phone as soon as we go live. You'll never miss a Georgetown Eagle football game. So we appreciate that, and we're really trying to build up those subscriber numbers. I did want to mention, too, we have a few final sponsorship opportunities left on a per game, or if you wanted to go through the rest of the season, that helps make our broadcast possible. So we appreciate your sponsorship to continue to bring these broadcasts through SHN to help promote our student athletes and the fine work that they're doing. As I always do, I definitely don't want to forget Carmen and everyone here at Berger University. Let's give a round of applause for these folks. And also some first-time guests here today. We appreciate the first-time guests and those that may have just stopped in to eat a bite. We appreciate you being here, and thank you for listening to the show tonight here as we do this every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. So we appreciate that. Remember, friends, we will be at Gupton Stadium. Kickoff at 7 p.m., that tailgate at 5 at Dos Sasas. We'll see you there as I end every broadcast reminding you tonight we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We need each other. Provide a word of encouragement. Lend a hand of support. Somebody out there tonight needs you. Until then, good night, and God bless from Georgetown Eagles. And on a count of 3, y'all know the Eagle fight never dies. 1, 2, 3. Eagle fight never dies. We'll see you next week, folks.